Yeah, so after I realized I could just put out anything on the podcast feed and they can't, like, send it back like they're at a restaurant, I thought, why not? Welcome to the Beavis and Butthead to the Universe Spoilercast and Review. I'm your host, Dan Video Games. We got the fullest of crews. We've got Bob.
Music videos.
From GigaBoots. We got KZ.
Very hilarious misunderstandings are funny.
From KZExcellent.com, we've got Mr. Feel from Mr. Feel's Wild Ride. Fire! Fire! And we've got Dr. Aggro from Dr. Aggro.
I wasn't allowed to watch this show growing up, so I had to get permission from my mother to do this content.
Did she send like an email? Was a signature saying it was okay?
Did you get that notarized?
Was it faxed?
Is that important?
It is.
Oh,
if she doesn't sign the digital certificate, we can't verify that it's really your mom. Yes, that's right, everyone. We've gathered to have a discussion about Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, the new streaming movie. New. These things always go up, let's say 6 months later. This one might be in the next couple weeks. Who knows? Anyways, over on Paramount Plus right now. Patreon.com/GB podcasts. Anyways, we're going to talk about what we each broadly thought of the movie, followed by a sound to exemplify how we feel, personify, distill how we feel. And then we will move on to the actual discussion of it. And at the end, we will give our scores like a normal fucking review.
Yeah.
Let's start with Mr. Feel.
I thought this movie was delightful. I didn't like it quite as much as the original Beavis and Butthead movie, Beavis and Butthead Do America, which I did watch for comparison's sake.
You saved me effort by doing that.
But this was pretty funny, so I'm gonna give it a
We now move to Bob.
This is actually the first time I've engaged with Beavis Butthead on any sort of scale. So that was interesting. It's like 2 hours of them desperately trying not to interact with the plot.
Yeah.
I'll give it a
Okay. We now move to KZ.
This is also my first time fully engaging with Beavis and Butthead content, but I know Mike judged through King of the Hill. My takeaway here was, this is all right and exactly what I expected Beavis and Butthead to actually be about without engaging with it. I'm going to give it a,
Dr. Aggro.
I actually expected to be the only person in the room who had never seen Beavis and Butthead before because of my terrible Christian upbringing. But yeah, this movie was, I was worried, but it was pretty good. So I gave it a, nice.
Well, since everyone is bringing up their history in this segment, I'll go ahead and do it now, too. Yeah, I watched Beavis and Butthead Do America as a child when I was like 8 years old at my friend's house, who later dropped out of school and got into drugs. I guess some parents are right. I'm going to go ahead and give this movie a... Wait, didn't I watch you in the 90s?
It is really, really similar to Beavis and Butthead Do America. In that movie, they are also trying to not acknowledge the plot at all.
Yeah. I'm serious. I spent my entire life since then trying to remember that film. And the moment I finished watching this, I'm like, that was that film, but I just go, where was the Hoover Dam? That was the only thing that I felt
they are broadly the same move. Like, all the parts are different. All the parts are different. But the broad structure of the movie is the same, and Beavis and Butthead's motivations are identical.
Of course, yes.
What else could motivate them?
Right. Like, that's based on everything I knew about them, which was a commercial I saw in the 90s. I was going to ask if that's how original Beavis and Butthead content was. These two just magooing their way oblivious through shit that happened.
That is basically how the movie went. I don't know about the original content. I actually never watched that. When I found out eventually that it was them talking over music videos, I'm like, what do you mean?
Well, that's not the whole show. That's not the whole show. There would be like
interstitial skits.
Yeah, there's interstitial sections.
Yeah.
So it would be like half and half. When it came back, which was like 15 years ago at this point, good lord.
Okay, I thought it was in like the 10s. Shit.
I don't remember when it was. Let me see actually.
It was PC.
See, it's coming back again, so it's hard to find when when it came back the first time. It's like it would be like if they brought back Futurama again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, they're doing that.
Yeah, they are.
They're doing that.
Yeah. Pretty good analogy there, Mr. Field. Thank you for greenlighting that, so it made perfect sense to everyone.
Okay, it was 2011. It was 2011 when it came back. That revival was so hysterical that I had no lack of faith going into this. Some of those episodes of that revival made me laugh so hard I couldn't breathe.
My original say a couple sentences and then make a sound was going to be, they showed Daria on screen. That was pretty cool.
Oh, did they?
She's in the courtroom when they judge them, and all she does is nod during the part where it's like they're completely hopeless.
I'm glad they catered to you.
I am surprised they have not brought Daria back in some fashion.
Yeah, me and Bob immediately were like,
So are we getting a movie for Daria?
Paramount Plus will obviously give money to anything.
Yes.
So
we need the college years.
There is very little reason to think they wouldn't do this.
Yeah, see, this is a shame that they did that undergrads like Kickstarter for the thing that still isn't out, and I think it's been a decade. Because I bet Paramount Plus would have greenlit a fucking undergrads thing.
I completely forgot they did that. What in the world?
Yeah, I need to see when that fucking Kickstarter happened, but yeah, no, they would absolutely. I almost said make that mistake. Why would I phrase it like that? They would absolutely greenlight a new undergrads.
No, Dan, you were right.
Of course I'm right. It's fucking undergrads. I would watch it, okay? I'm not above that.
You would watch it and make us watch it.
Wait a second. No, this can't be real. This has to be... Okay, someone else made a movie that is called Undergrads that has nothing to do with the series, but they did it this year.
Yeah.
This year. Great. Anyway.
So, okay. Beavis and Butthead, when I was a kid, was, as I said, forbidden in my house.
Because then you might become friends with that one guy and then get into drugs and drop out of school. Everyone knew, right?
Yeah. Along with like Ren and Stimpy and a few other things. And I'm going to be honest, I went back and I never liked Ren and Stimpy.
Interesting. Okay, now not to really get off in the weeds here, but I think it's worth looking into now because when are we going to do any Ren and Stimpy content? Why is that, do you think?
I just hated the animation.
Oh, really?
I didn't think it was funny, and I thought the whole thing was just crude noise. I just didn't like it.
It's weird how like there's two eras of Ren and Stimpy, like the John K era and then the era where like after they threw him out.
I think that's maybe one season that John K's running the show, and I had a stroke when I found that out.
Yeah, and it seems like the general consensus nowadays seems to be like, no, it became a real show after he left and wasn't just visual noise with gross out things.
Oh, well, so there might be a whole different show I need to check out.
Perhaps.
I like that powdered toast man, dude.
He's pretty good. I'm going to tell the anecdote here because it deserves to be told as many times as possible. The reason the production logo for that animation company is Stimpy as a milkman is because John K said, you know, if they were going to kick him off, they might as well have the fucking milkman make the show.
Oh, that's fucking good.
Have you ever heard of a person who like has a mutant superpower, but the only thing it does is whenever you cross a bridge, it's set on fire?
Yeah. Yeah, that's that guy, all right.
What a magical industry.
Oh man. But yeah, no, Beavis and Butthead, the TV show, I just, it was one of those things where just like Dr. Katz, I think I caught it once on TV and I was just like, what is the structure for a show? I don't understand. Why am I watching a music video now? Meanwhile, with Dr. Katz, it's basically why does everyone talk like this? Like they're podcasters trying to riff comedy. They were so ahead of their time.
The entire Squiggle Vision oeuvre was a very confusing thing.
It was.
As a child.
Yes,
Yeah,
actually.
it was like, why do all these shows look hideous? What's happening?
I really appreciate this movie's commitment to making sure they wiggle and stuff anytime they do anything. Like the outlines need to just reverberate.
I like the contrast between Beavis and Butthead and literally everyone else.
I know.
Like they look like they're from different universes.
That's part of what makes it work, because it's just like Mike Judge was like, in my head, this is how all 14-year-old boys look.
Yeah, it really that contrast really hits its stride when they make, well, clearly they're aliens. That's a joke.
Like I was starting to think maybe it was that Simpsons thing where like you get in a lot of animation where like this is the original couple of character designs I had, and then as you make more characters, they become more normalized. But no, it's literally just those two. Like this is the bit. Oh my God.
Yeah.
There's a couple other characters that I feel like exist in the same dimension of not looking quite human, like like their principal
Yes.
is one of them,
God.
and the coach is another one.
Yes.
And the guy who's just Mike Judge or whoever does Hank Hill doing Hank Hill's voice
Yes.
in this is another one that's like a weird potato man. He's not a human.
It kills me, and I swear this is the last time I'm going to talk about it. I promise I'll move on from here. Okay.
Okay.
They have Daria wearing the Beavis and Butthead jacket, and not the Daria Show jacket. This is very important. She's wearing the black jacket. Okay, I'm
Nice. Oh my God.
Well, this could have happened at any time. Obviously, it happened before Daria started.
done. Obviously.
And then after Daria ended.
One thing I'm not clear on. Did Beavis and Butthead ever show up in Daria? Because I'm pretty sure they don't, but I don't actually know. I don't know.
Think so, no.
But I'm dropping the Daria tangent. I'm done. I promise.
I think it's really weird that they made that the plot of this is them literally being shot forward in time. Because in the first revival, that was just like, no, we just made it modern day.
I know. That gave me a stroke. Because the first one just ignores the passage of time. They're just like, well, now they're going to talk about things that are going now.
Yeah, they're watching Jersey Shore, and and everybody was like, oh, that'll be bad. And I'm like, no, it's actually really funny.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Of course, it would be absolutely hilarious.
Beavis getting a job at a call center is one of the funniest things ever put on television.
Fuck that. Oh my God.
I was genuinely surprised that this movie was actually funny. Like I buckled in and I'm like, okay, let's watch something. And then I started laughing and went, uh-oh.
Beavis and Butthead has consistently been very funny all through its existence.
But I had never seen evidence of that since I never watched the show. I would see clips of it in commercials. And there's never like a good bit in any of those. It's just these two assholes going, eh.
Also, I feel like it suffers from an even weirder version of the Monty Python problem, where it's like some of the most insufferable people will just quote it at you constantly. But these people were just like the literal gremlins as they sit there just going, fire, fire. It's just like, okay.
It's like, I get it. Cornholio. Shut up.
Right.
It's very funny.
That's all I got growing up.
Yeah, Cornholio is definitely the like the Beavis and Butthead equivalent of Gurr singing the Doom song.
Yes.
Where that's all you know about it, and it isn't funny at all. But this movie was actually new because it made the Cornholio bit sort of funny.
It did. When it showed up, it became triumphant.
Yeah, this is the first time I really enjoyed that bit because I don't know, just so many people were just doing that. I don't know.
Like there's the structure of this movie is metatextually insane. Because it's that shit we kept doing to TV shows in the 90s where we take old TV shows and update them for the modern era.
Yeah.
Extreme. And we're just doing it to some dumb stoner 90s show in the 2020s.
Yeah, I love it that they do that. They have that, but it's wrapped around an insane murder plot.
Like for the second half, the first half is that thing you do when you make a TV movie or a two-parter for a show in the 80s and 90s where they go to space. We ended up with a little more budget at the end of this season.
Yeah, I was surprised how quickly they went through all of that. Like I was like, how is this movie going to be 2
really
hours?
fast.
It's like we've covered so much ground in 10 minutes.
I know.
And then the movie just completely comes to a standstill as they wander around 2022.
So good.
Yes.
They fucking fall out of the wormhole and it's like, okay, all right, we're doing this. This is amazing. This is actually some big brain shit. And then literal big brain Beavis and Butthead show up.
I loved the smart what were they fucking called in the
smart
original
Beavis
Star
is
Trek,
smart.
which they're
Oh.
obviously supposed to be.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh God, what were they called? The Telosians, where they're obviously just Telosians.
I hate looking at the credits for this movie because they're like Mike Judge as Beavis, Butthead, Smart Beavis, Smart Butthead, Old Beavis, Old Butthead, Empress Beavis, and Burr Butthead.
Yes.
Oh my God. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he just voiced it.
Yeah,
That makes
they're all
perfect
him.
sense, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the original the way Beavis and Butthead got created was he was just Mike Judge was not an animator. He like bought an animation kit from like a mail order thing as a hobby, and he's like, I'm gonna draw these stupid metalheads playing baseball with a live frog. and then just started showing the cartoon he made to people at like parties and stuff, and that eventually got to MTV being like, do you want a TV show or a new network who really needs content?
So if you sit there and you still somehow in 2022 don't understand the value of legitimate upstarts and not having monopolies, Mike Judge having a job at all.
Smart Beavis and Smart Butthead always calling things droll.
Yes, that's
Really killed me.
Whimsical.
whimsical. Yeah, it's quite hilarious, actually. Yeah.
And then the part at the end where it's like, yes, we were really overcomplicating things. We are the smartest Beavis and Butthead in creation, but on a bigger scale, still not that bright.
Still not that bright.
There are an infinite number of universes.
Brick.
Beavis' Buttheads. Do any of them score? No.
And this wasn't treated as like a moment of despair. It was just like, okay. And then we move on.
No, it was great because their response to being told that in all of existence, no Beavis and no Butthead have ever scored is going, cool, we'll be the first.
And that's how capitalism works.
I like the idea where it's like, you're going to go to Mount Everest. Sure. Sure you are.
What did they say? I don't know. I think they were British.
And then later, we have made it easier. We have put it behind the humanities department because nobody goes there anymore.
I've seen clips of the original show, and I think I saw the movie, but I was too young to recall a single frame of it.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing these characters animate now is weird.
Yeah.
And it fucks with me bad, where I'm like,
Yeah,
One of the
bad. It's just fucking wigging me out.
one of the funniest bits from the original show was their teacher, who is a hippie, giving this lecture about the beauty of animation and all the creative things you can do with it, as with a 2-frame loop of them sitting there blinking, watching him.
Yes, I've seen that. That's really good.
Yeah, it is really good.
God. Like I wasn't sure how this was going to go, what the actual structure, the humor was going to be like, because it opens on Butthead kicking Beavis in the nads over and over, and I'm like, where on the William Street slope is this going to fall?
Right. And, I'm watching that scene, and I'm like, Theo must be right at home right now.
Honestly, one of the things I've always loved about Beavis and Butthead is it's just like, no, they just get hurt horribly, then walk it off.
Yeah.
Like when Beavis gets kicked in the dick by the crank diesel-powered foot
that fucking
flies
foot.
through the air and lands in a pile of cactuses.
He starts cranking that foot up, and they fully designed the mechanism. You can see the escapement, the winch, all of the tensioners, and it's just...
And I really love it because as that's happening, Beavis is just like, "You're not going to kick me in the nuts again, are you?" And he goes, No, I'm not doing that anymore. And he's like, "Oh, that's really good because that hurt and I got tired of it."
My balls physically retreated while that foot got wound up. That was the moment of buy-in for this film.
Same.
When it had a physical effect on my body.
I was like, okay, this movie may have just a garbage plot. I have no idea yet, but this is fucking hilarious. At least I get to walk out with this moment.
There is at least one good bit.
This movie also has an incredible antagonist.
Yes.
She may or may not be vice president right now.
We don't know.
We just don't know.
With all the "I'm with her" signs, I was like, "Oh God, it is just Hillary." Jesus.
Oh my God. Speaking of I'm with her, there's a moment where I thought, oh God, oh no, this is where the whole thing bursts into flames.
It was the gender studies scene, wasn't it?
Yes, where they walk into that classroom. I'm like, oh God, this is going to be awful.
This could be catastrophic.
I'm glad it keeps it to the normal Beavis and Butthead thing where no, everyone else is normal. They're just insane.
Yeah, because the thing was, like, before watching this movie, and I didn't imply to any of our viewers that we were doing this, but they were just talking about it because it came up. Somebody brought up the only thing I know from Beavis and Butthead is them walking into sex studies course. So when they do that in the movie, I'm like, I don't know how that scene went. I don't know what I'm signing up for right now.
As they lock the door.
As Casey said, it was perfect. It was the best possible version.
Yeah.
Of like them walking out and just going, like taking shit like white privilege.
I
was screaming.
Holy fucking shit.
I also genuinely love the moment where it was just like a number of kids in the class tried to explain what white privilege is, and the moment a black lady starts to explain, some white guy goes, "One moment, I got this." So it's whenever a white guy. I fucking lost it. And the teacher's like, "Thanks, Todd," or whatever his name is, and you can see the black chick next to him is just like, what the fuck?
The conclusion of that little mini arc being them stealing a police car and immediately having guns pulled on them by the police.
Maybe you're just uneducated. Oh my God. Like, I am going to remember that sequence for the rest of my life as, yeah, you can do lowest common denominator humor. And you can do it about sensitive topics without being a shitbag.
Yes, that is possible.
If your hands are not made of bricks, you can write anything.
My father's powerful.
You know my dad?
I am in my mid-30s. This is not the period in my life where I should start quoting Beavis and Butthead.
Yes, it should. I think it'll make you an even more fun person in public.
If you liked this movie, you need to go watch the first one because it's like 1 point higher, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that first one, as I recall, is this movie, but
like they get through the science fair and the courthouse scene. They're like, okay, this is the setup for the plot so far, and they get to space camp, and it's like, oh, this movie has one joke. Actually, this movie has two jokes. The one joke we're doing and the fact that that's the one joke we're doing.
Yeah. Every time the movie does that thing where it's like 18 hours later and they're still doing the same thing.
They haven't taken breaks, eaten, or anything. They've just been training this docking for 18 hours.
Them immediately blinding themselves on the telescope at the sun was really funny.
Yeah.
You have another eye. Go do that one too.
Especially since they included a sizzle sound effect.
Yes.
You don't know how to do anything, right?
And they're like, hey, on the bright side, we can see again.
The fact that next scene, like the telescope is fully retracted and everything's fine except their eyes are still ruined. Wild.
The dude who just gives the thumbs up from the space station is just dead like 10 seconds later.
How graphic them destroying the space station was.
Yeah, Beavis
Ripping
Butthead.
out the entire like hall.
They literally just murdered people in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they did.
God, this is like, fuck. This movie is so exemplary of how, once again, you can do something they tell you you're not supposed to do, which is only have one joke in your script, but do it so well. Like they're walking out to the rocket and she's like, do you know how many people have done what you're about to do?
256 men, 49 women,
a dog and a monkey. Oh my God, stop.
That's way more than I was hoping.
But between that and them just going, I dreamt about this day for a long time and felt embarrassed, even to my parents, but I'm doing it now. This is great.
I feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
I loved that and the entire phone conversation in the bedroom.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Like,
Some real emotional depth was added in this film.
everything they did in this movie was something that you have seen in a worse movie and gone, oh, why would some idiot write this?
Yes.
I really like when they get to their house in the future
Yes.
and they're trying to tell them about their mom. And it's just
Yeah, the lore dump of like, yeah, after her son went missing, garbage disposal sounds.
it's like, oh wow,
So
yeah,
she-
they're just trying their best to not acknowledge anything.
So she took her settlement and brrr.
It's really good because it's like, man, this garbage disposal joke, it keeps going. Does it have a logical end? Yes, he completely fucks up his hand. I like this rules on every aspect.
Even the nacho montage, which was stupid. It was the dumbest thing in this movie.
Yup,
Yes.
it was.
Had parts that had me rolling like, no, they're doing like making it rain with nachos, and then they pull out and show like them doing it in a restaurant.
Yeah, they're doing it at like a nightclub still, but everyone around them is just upset and pissed to get fucking nachos launched at their head.
Or them buying the antique jeweled bowl at the pawn shop and filling it with gas station nachos and then discarding.
And the look on that fucking gas station attendant's face as he has to fill it with nachos and he sees the bowl and he's just like, this sucks. It's so good. It was so perfect.
The jail scene was also really good, not just from Cornholio, which
Yeah.
is like the only time that bit has ever been funny.
Yeah.
But the governor showing up, being like, I'm going to surprise pardon the two inmates,
Well, those two have never been here. So
and I'll drive them back to the Capitol in my car. Beavis and Butthead aren't there, so she picks the two largest men for some reason, who of course rob her.
How did this happen? How did we get here?
I don't know.
How did the Paramount Plus greenlit Beavis and Butthead movie in the year of our Lord 2022 turn out to be this good?
I don't know. Between this and the South Park specials, Paramount Plus is doing pretty all right in my book. The worst thing I checked out on them was the Halo show.
Oh God, I keep forgetting that was them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually added that to the boot up logo on Xbox. The warthog from the show drives by, and I'm like, please don't remind me of this.
For exactly the amount of time it drove in the show.
I'm like, come on, man. I don't want to be reminded of that. I want to think about the South Park specials where they start talking about the water supply and calling things streaming services.
Jesus. So there, like I was saying earlier about how this is sort of an echo of the update movies we would do to old TV shows in the 90s.
Yeah.
And in that same vein, there's that transcendent moment at the end where the governor and all the G-men are in their house after the car crash, and she has the epiphany of what's been going on the entire time.
Yes.
And just breaks it down to the camera. Like,
It's
wait,
so good.
did you think you were going to have sex with me? Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird because the rest of the movie, she seems like she understands how helpless and horrible those kids are, and then it wasn't until the end where she realized that last layer.
Yeah.
Like, oh, all of that. Oh,
Oh no.
Which just leads fluidly and flawlessly into Beavis getting cucked by Smart Beavis.
And that alone would have been decently funny, pretty funny. But then there was the New Hope metal scene.
Yes.
Oh my God.
For me, the part that set me is on the way into the portal with her. He goes, I have a giant penis. I hope that's not a problem.
God, the fucking when the guy gets sucked into the portal and they're like, oh, I guess it didn't have to be you two.
Yeah, we
just
could have
thrown
thrown
a
a brick
brick
in there
in
and it would have been fine.
I guess we really overthought this. It was fantastic.
We may be the smartest, but we're still Beavis and Butthead.
what? So since the Beavis and Butthead are still in the future, does that leave room for more movie sequels? Is that their idea, or what?
They're doing another show. I assume it's just going to start right off this movie.
But
Yeah,
that does make the first comeback series
non-canon.
right.
Which
All,
I guess
all they have to do is say it happened right after this.
I guess we should have opened this with, is it canon?
Well, you see, obviously, they're like there are many universes, so that's just another.
Oh, there you
universe
go.
of Beavis
Yeah.
and Butthead.
It's TMNT rules. Like anything is just a multiversal problem.
This is watertight.
The part of the ending where it's like she is no longer answering your texts or calls, but it is too late.
Yeah.
And Butthead getting a medal for hiding in a suitcase at the base of the bed.
So, Dan, when are you and Bob going to get I scored and I watched medals for a stream?
No, never.
You still got a P.O. box, right? Or...
No.
Oh, okay. Well, thank God.
Mysterious fire.
I'm just going to say that doesn't exist right now.
Okay, for me, this whole movie was a constant level of sensible chuckle. Like, I was never laughing out loud. Is that just how Beavis and Butthead is for most people? Or is it actually supposed to be like bust a gut sort of funny?
That's mostly how it was for me in most of it, but the first revival and the movie got really big laughs out of me in places.
Yeah, as I understand it, the original was quintessential stoner humor.
I don't know. There are a couple moments the movie breaks me where it's just like Butthead's trying to get the tattoo of an ass on his head in prison. And the guy's like, don't you want something like Dyson? He's like, no, that's stupid. This is going to be on my head for the rest of my life.
Yeah, like I was legitimately worried before coming here because I laughed out loud way too many times during this movie. And I was like, oh God, oh no, is it just me? Did something go wrong in my brain?
You're like, what if everyone, even KZ, fucking hates it? Oh no.
You're just going to show up and we're going to be like, no, Aggro, just the content schedule broke you after watching enough Free Guy and other things like that.
I think that for me, we might have done this a disservice by watching it right after a South Park special.
Oh yeah, 100%. That stream war thing is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, so
that thing made me scream. There was too many moments in it that were absolutely hilarious.
Oh, I haven't even watched that.
Yeah, no,
it's really hard to fight them. They're at their prime right now.
I know. They get such a buff from only having to make a special every 3 months or something.
Yeah, that is great that they went to that format.
Yeah, it seems crazy that now South Park's the best it's been like maybe ever.
Yeah, I would put it there.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for them to reach the heights of the Little League episode that was the greatest half hour of television ever made.
I skip one special. I skip the St. Patrick's Day special, and I just get gaslit by everyone referring to Stan's dad as Karen. And then eventually, like 20 minutes into the episode, he gets Shelly to come in. He's like, Shelly, what is a Karen? It's a derogatory slang. It means a white person who tries to get their way with everything and calls the police at the drop of a hat. Oh, because I want the police to protect me. I'm a Karen. This seems a little sexist.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to compete with them right now.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought this movie was sufficiently funnier than I was expecting it to be. I was definitely expecting I watched a bunch of things happen on a screen. But no, I think the structure for this, the setup for all the jokes, it's really tight in a lot of different ways that I kind of wasn't coming in expecting. You know, I don't sit there and think, the Beavis and Butthead movies can have a really good plot structure for not only having a bunch of set pieces, but having the most hilarious, weird murder scandal thing possible. Like, I cannot explain how funny it is that this movie is about G-men trying to stop aliens, but also a senator trying to kill children to hide up a crime of killing children.
Yes. They're like, well, I'm going to have to do it again.
If I'm going to get charged with murder either way, I might as well actually kill him.
It's surprising she doesn't figure out any earlier that they have no intention of reporting you to anything. They're wandering at complete random.
Bob, she is a paranoid, egotistical narcissist.
Yes.
And she's also, the governor of Texas. So, killing school children is just, it's part of the job description.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Since I don't have reference for the rest of the series, are there returning characters in this, like past the time skip? Do we see anyone from the old days?
No, and I was really expecting that.
Yeah, I kept waiting for that to happen too.
I expected to see the teacher.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see the teacher. I'm surprised we didn't see the the adult version of the kid they were always bullying, who would be like 40.
Especially when they got to the prison. I figured this is when it's going to happen.
See, I thought at the college they would run into either the teacher they used to have or Daria or something. I figured that was the ultimate level of, okay, maybe Daria is a teacher or something. Or maybe we're going to run into one of their classmates or the old teacher. And none of that. And it's really weird. And that made me kind of question myself a little because I'm like, maybe I'm really damaged by reboot movies that are just like, here's a pile of references to things. Because the closest this has is the Cornholio thing.
Right.
Since it's the only time that's ever been funny, it gets a pass.
Yeah, it's probably better that it's not focused on trying to be a reboot movie like that. It's just surprising.
I mean, they don't really have to do that since it's, it was here even 10 years ago. So it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not like it's been gone that long. And I think I'm not even sure if the neighbor was in the new one. They might have okay, those characters ran their course. But maybe I'm remembering wrong.
But Beavis and Butthead are forever.
Yes. Yes, Beavis and Butthead are timeless. The neighbor ran the course. Well, we should probably start wrapping this.
I'm not that good at rhyming.
That's going to be a problem. Don't want to be those guys who spent an hour talking about Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. So, gentlemen, if you could have a few sentences to summarize your feelings on the movie as a whole and then give it a score out of 10. Whole. We can go ahead and end this. We're going to go ahead and start with KZ.
I came in this a little concerned. I'm like, I have faith in Mike Judge. He's bringing back a lot of stuff. I hope he's still funny, and it turns out he is incredibly funny. This man gets a gold star from me. I really enjoyed this film. There were plenty of good laughs, some violence, some good bits. I didn't know what this series, really was. So going into the movie and being entertained by it, I'm pretty shocked over that. I'm gonna give it a 8.
Okay. Dr. Agro?
I was completely flipped by this movie. I went into it entirely pessimistically, and halfway through I was like, why do some of these characters animate like King of the... Oh my God, I keep forgetting Mike Judge made Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, I know.
This is probably the funniest comedy movie I've seen in years. I'm gonna give it a strong 8.
Okay. Bob.
Yeah, I'm torn on this one. I do really like some of the humor, but like I said earlier, it really does just evoke a modest chuckle from me for most of it. It's
That's fair.
It's brave to do what it does. I think.
To do the same joke for 90 minutes after doing a movie in the 90s that was the same joke for 90 minutes.
He does it again.
So I'll give it a 7. I don't think that it's something you have to watch, but it's something that's very interesting to watch.
Fans of the series will enjoy.
I can't even say that because I have no idea what they want.
Probably this. Mr.
One
Feel.
joke for 90 minutes.
So I had faith. I was like, there's no way this will be as good as Beavis and Butthead Do America, but I bet it'll be pretty good. That was pretty much exactly where it landed. Really do, if you liked this, go watch Beavis and Butthead Do America. You'll be stunned at how every single thing is different, but it's the exact same movie.
Yeah, it's basically one of those like McMansions where it's just all the furniture's in a different place, but this is the same fucking house.
So is there a 15-minute setup for them getting warped to America?
Yes.
Sort of. But I'll give this an 8.
Okay. This actually does cause a lot of struggle for me. I have to sit here and be like, what does it mean to be a 7 versus an 8 or an 8 versus a 7? And I sit there and think about it because I've been sitting on this line this whole time. Because it's definitely an enjoyable film. I will never watch it again. There is no need. That's not true. I'm probably at some point going to watch Beavis and Butthead Do America, right?
Yeah.
In which case, I'm absolutely watching it again. And to some extent, I already saw this movie 30 years ago or some shit. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 7. And this is gonna sound insane, but looking at my other scores, I think that makes sense. Because it matches perfectly with Star Wars Episode 9, the funniest Star Wars film.
I am so happy looking at these scores because this did better than the Pentaveret by 35 points.
Yeah, no shit.
Just like the Pentaveret, the main guy voices 10 characters.
That's something that works a lot better in animation.
Yeah, weird.
And with writing.
Weird that more neurons fire in your brain when you get to see a person voice multiple characters versus just put on bad makeup and be everyone.
And their one joke in this is better than any joke in the Pentaveret.
Yeah, no shit.
And when they're characters and not I talk in funny voice.
Oh my God, where did Feel go?
What happened?
I didn't know you were here, Fielzinski.
Oh.
How did you get in this review?
It helps a lot when there's no Venn diagram crossover whatsoever with Kick-Assia.
Yes, that definitely helps your comedy film. But yeah, this is a film. What's up?
I had a horrifying realization of if you had your mind completely wiped of our current timeline and someone described Doug Walker to you and asked you now, is this a real person or a Mike Judge character?
That is a good bit.
I'm going to need people who heard these words to maybe draw Doug Walker in Mike Judge's Beavis and Butthead style, because that is haunting. Because it's in my brain, and now I want it on the internet.
Oh, like his teeth are just always showing, like Butthead.
Oh, okay.
But it's just wide.
Well, that was it. That was our spoiler cast and review for Beavis Butthead Do the Universe. Special thanks goes out to Phil for watching the original movie after this, because I was so close to doing that, and Bob just goes, hey, he tweeted he was going to do that. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll just ask him questions. I'll see if he ended up at the same spot I did of, wait, this is the same movie, but without the Hoover Dam. This month's GigaBoots videos were brought to you by the continued support of our executive producers, such as Esme, E. Lee Broyles, Star Falcon, Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Brendan O'Sullivan, Burning Pepsi Man, Adam Admar, Cooper Tank, and Virmvarm. Thank you very much to our executive producers, and also these gamers. If you want to support GigaBoots so we can continue the content crunch, then head on over to patreon.com/GigaBoots today.